Hello! How are you today? It is Shan from shanmerchant.com. I'm a relationship coach and an intimacy teacher, and I am shooting to you live from a sunny evening in Ibiza. Hello everyone. So firstly, if you haven't seen my videos before, I am new to the land of YouTube, and if you like my content, you can really help me by subscribing to my YouTube channel. And if you like my videos, I pretty much shoot a video most days either on my page, Shan Merchant, on Facebook, or here on YouTube. Right, let's dive into the topic for today, which is 3 reasons why you are still single. In fact, I could list a whole lot more of them, but I just want to pick out 3 for you today. So firstly, you have a mindset that works against you. And I'm going to list out a few of the negative mindsets that have worked against previous clients of mine. All the good ones are taken. Internet dating is desperate. Relationships don't last, and love doesn't mean anything. So if you think about this, a lot of the time these current mindsets as an adult woman come from a much earlier mindset, generally developed in childhood. And so if we look at the first one, all the good ones are taken. So what type of mindset is that? That's more of a scarcity mindset in comparison to an abundant mindset, thinking that there is enough for everyone, and there's many partners out in the world for me to meet. There isn't just one person for me to meet. And often what happens is, as children, we internalize the types of mindsets of our parents, and so underneath a belief like this is often that real scarcity mindset that you might have picked up from as a child. But this is actually really working against you as an adult, because what does it mean? It means you don't try. It means you don't get out there in the world. And what we need is, not only do we need to do our inner work to really come into a close and intimate relationship with ourselves, we need to be out there in the world, meeting people, interacting, being dynamic, really expressing ourselves. So we also need action too. And so if we look at the other couple of mindsets, so internet dating is desperate, relationships don't last, love doesn't mean anything. These are actual mindsets that I've worked with previous clients of mine that were single and really wanted to be in a relationship. And those last mindsets that I've listed, again, are usually from childhood, but what you saw or experienced as a child. So for example, you might have had modeled by a parent. When we're children, small children, we look at our parents and we're like, this is the perfect love. This is perfect love being modeled to me. We really look up like that. And what we don't realize is a lot of the time it's actually a broken model that we're thinking is perfect, and so we go out and we believe that is the way things are out in the world. So for example, if you have a mindset deep down that relationships don't last, this might have been something that you heard a parent say or you saw acted out in front of you. So it's either something we experience or that we internalized as children. And so it's really, and a lot of the time this stuff can sit right at the bottom, in our basement, we call it in psychotherapy, in the lower unconscious. And so we have this really strong belief that actually stops us, this is a strong belief from childhood, but actually stops us from really having what we long for and what we want in our hearts as an adult. The other thing that I would say, that's another reason why you're still single, a powerful reason why you're still single, is that you have a judgment against being single. And so what happens is that energy gets transmitted out into the world in a negative way. And usually if you have a judgment against being single, then there's actually some shame sitting around there. And again, this is another couple of recent cases, scenarios that I have worked with in my clients, and I've seen this. And underneath this, it's actually commonly a shame. There's shame around lovability, and a deep-seated feeling that no one will ever love me. And it's really, really important that rather than just sitting in the judgment, which is actually just going to block you from what you want, you actually do the deeper work and you go down deep and you heal that part of you that really feels like that. So that's doing the deeper psychological work. The third thing I want to talk about today actually is about the fact that you're not actually available. And this is such a common one actually. And firstly, one of the ones that I see quite a lot is women fantasizing about an ex. And so what they do is they have a relationship breakup and then, you know, they're wounded after that relationship. But then it's like you forget the bad stuff and you remember the good stuff. You remember how you liked to be in a relationship and you felt safe and stable in a relationship and you felt like you belonged, and you know, you knew who you were, and so you remember the good things about the relationship. And it's very easy for us to look back in retrospect and fantasize about the good things of that relationship, but actually that fantasy keeps you out of meeting someone new, because you're not really available. You have to really make a conscious ending to you know, exit that relationship. And you know, I have seen friends, I have seen clients that, you know, can fantasize about an ex. Oh, it's really windy here actually, which is actually lovely because it's so hot. You know, fantasize about an ex for even a year afterwards. And what that means is, it means you're not free when you're out meeting someone. You know, you're not only you sort of transmitting that energy that you're not fully available, you're just not open to it. You might not be taking those opportunities, having those conversations. And so it's actually really, really important that you're super honest with yourself and you know, look at what you're actually doing. And then the other thing that I want to say, and this is a really important reason why you might still be single as well, is that you're actually living out of your history, but you don't actually realize this. And I had 2 clients very recently who had practically identical stories, so I'm going to tell you about this. And so both of these had absent fathers, so they had physically absent fathers from a very young age. And so they knew they had issues around abandonment, but that was about as far as it went. And then when I met them both, they both were coming to me because they wanted to be in a relationship. They wanted to enter into a healthy relationship, but they were still single, and this was after many years. And they couldn't understand why they were still single. There was a lot of sadness about them being still single, a lot of shame. And actually, when we looked deeper about this, you know, we actually realized together, because it's a co-creation, this work, that actually they weren't actually available, because what they were doing is, you know, when they went to university, you know, they still had inside of that longing, that younger part really longed for their father, longed for father or an image of father. And so they rejected all the people of their age at university. They weren't interested. They were boys. They wanted men. And both of them actually ended up having affairs with their directors of their company. And one of them actually had an affair for many years. And so what this meant is that they weren't fully available. They were never available to be into a relationship, because the longing for father, the fantasy of really finally experiencing that protector, that good father energy, the safety, you know, really feeling loved and really being with that older man, actually kept them out of being available to men their own age that wanted to date them and were interested in them. And so they actually were rejecting those men, but they weren't even fully conscious of this, because they were so caught up in this father complex of really wanting to, you know, longing for that father figure. And you know, it was quite a big realization for both of them when we talked about this. And the fact is, it also released them from the shame as well, because they both felt a lot of shame about the fact they had been single for many years. And one of them were, you know, I remember one of the questions with, you know, one of these women that I was working with, she was saying to me, well, what will I say on dates? What will I say on dates? Because I've been single for so many years. And so she felt shame about this. And this obviously gets communicated when you're on the date. But when she actually realized what the reason was, like why she'd actually been single for so many years, it was actually because she was acting out of her wounding. She was acting out of her old story. She was released from this, so she didn't feel that anymore. So she was opened up, and she was more free to, you know, to meet men actually, because all of a sudden it's almost like the you know, the light is turned on. It's like a big insight. It's like, wow, I never realized, for example, that for the whole of my 20s I wasn't available, and that's why I have been single for so many years. And it's actually, you know, having to go into that wounded part, you know, the child that really longs for father, and actually, you know, do some deep work there. If you do the deep work there, that is what actually releases you in the present as an adult woman to be open to relationships. So that was a really big insight for both of them. And And so I think that's a really important question actually, is to ask yourself, you know, actually how available actually am I? So I think that is it. Yeah, that's all I was going to say for today. So I hope that you found that interesting, and I do videos every week on YouTube, Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.